The new Black Ops ports could be ruined by hackers. Okay, that phrase may be a little extreme, but hackers have now started appearing in these new COD ports, which in all fairness, COD have addressed this and have even gone as far to disable select playlists whilst they investigate. Now, we have waited a super long time for these ports to arrive here on PlayStation with some fresh servers and new players. There have been a crazy amount of excitement around both of these games since they were announced, and now they've arrived, there is a lot of talk around COD again. So hopefully these hacks don't escalate into something bigger, which I think is the standard to expect given how much money Activision would have earned from these ports already. So the first thing that really started to appear was the max prestige, which to be honest in my opinion is extremely weird behaviour, as of course at this stage even if you tried to stay awake every single minute, getting to max prestige is literally impossible, and the only way to have got this is through non-legit means. Now of course this isn't exactly game breaking or ruining anyone's fun apart from the fact that they will get the best guns, but it does kind of give that weird vibe when you join a lobby and see someone, or in some cases more than one person, sitting with their max prestige and you realise players in your lobby haven't worked for anything that they have. Of course a lot of players will just enjoy the ride and want to legitimately grind out the game to unlock everything, but clearly that isn't everyone, and some people would rather cheat their way to these levels and unlocks. Sadly though, level hackers are the least of our worries. Now there are some people that have claimed to load up Call of Duty lobbies and they load automatically into a modded lobby, something which most players will notice almost instantly, so when you back out of the game, this is where the real problems start. We've seen entire accounts that have been permanently reset, stats and leaderboards will reset, and worst of all, they couldn't load into another lobby, and this is because their account was set to -1 level, so the game kept on saying you have to be level 1 to be able to load into a lobby. This is where things really get weird, as there are tons of players who have waited years to be able to load into these ports and have spent their hard-earned cash buying one or both of the ports, only to find out that within days they've lost complete access to lobbies for no fault of their own because someone thought it was funny. Now thankfully this is something that Activision are addressing and we shouldn't see a wider scale issue, but with how old these ports are, I hope Activision go further to blocking any abilities that hackers may have to recreate this in other circumstances. And to be honest, recently this started because all Call of Duty players were allowed to play together, so PS4 could play with PS5 and DLC players could start to play with non-DLC players, which granted this was the main criticism of the new ports to begin with, but I mentioned it in my last video that the PS4 is incredibly easy to hack now, and this is where most of the issues seem to be coming from. So obviously it begins the question whether cross-generation was the right idea, and maybe for the time being both consoles should be split up, which yes is bad for PS4 players, but there is a larger player base on PS5, and in my opinion that should get priority on creating fair and safe lobbies for the player base. On the plus side, if you've been playing BO2, then BO1 is where most of these problems have been, and you've likely been confused by this entire thing, as again, not a lot of problems have been appearing on BO2. But with how old both games are, I'd imagine hackers will try and find ways to hack both, and to try and be as annoying as possible, which again, is just extremely weird. On some positive notes, whilst filming this voiceover, we have some early news about fixes that are already being deployed, and players who had previously been switched to negative XP are now getting their accounts restored. So hopefully the rest of these issues are quickly resolved, as the ports have been extremely fun, and it's great to see so many casuals back into COD lobbies, and to see YouTube full of Call of Duty content like it used to be. At the moment, Activision and Treyarch and everyone behind the Call of Duty games have the ability to capitalise on the momentum of these ports and regenerate some much needed love into the franchise, which I'd be totally up for seeing. Thank you for watching and have a great day.